What's up, guys? Welcome back to a new series on the Sport Universe called... Don't know what to call it yet. This is the first time you're actually seeing who I am as an actual human being person. I'm Brian. It's going to be nice for you to put a face to the voice and know who I actually am. So the whole point of this thing that I'm doing, this new series, is to get more content out, diversify what's on the actual page. This is going to be more of like a reaction-based video series. I don't know what this is going to be. I obviously don't even have a name for it. I just figured, why not do something different? There's still going to be the podcast, still going to be the regular videos. I think the schedule is going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, highlight videos, and Tuesday, Thursday, whatever this video is. And then Sunday, the podcast, which I'm actually recording very soon. This is coming out on Tuesday, so currently it's Sunday. So whatever you want to make of that, I need some time to edit stuff and figure out what I'm going to call this, all the nonsense stuff that you probably don't care about. I'm recording on my cell phone right now, my iPhone. I don't have the best equipment in the world. Right behind me is a blanket I'm using as my background, so that's the type of budget I have. And I think I'm supposed to be looking there, but I'm not. I'm looking there. Sorry about that. You're going to have to deal with that. So what we're going to be discussing today is, earlier this week, there was the First Take interview with Stephen A. Smith and Carmelo Anthony. I wanted to wear Knicks stuff, but I realized my only Knicks stuff is Kristaps Porzingis stuff. So that's not who I want to be showing off this video. I'm not a Kristaps fan anymore. I am wearing a Knicks hat. It's on backwards because the front of it, I don't like how it looks on me. And I'm wearing a Mets shirt because that's the only sports stuff I have. No bias here, but don't make fun of me about Mets stuff. Okay, so there's three... I was deciding how I wanted to make this video, if I wanted to have like the classic reaction video where there's like a little picture of it in the bottom right corner of what I'm reacting to, pausing and all that stuff, but I don't have the editing ability to do that, so I already watched the video and I'm just going to be discussing the major points. It's kind of going to be like a video podcast, I guess you say, but it's definitely not going to be as long. Okay, so I don't remember the exact date, but Carmelo Anthony had his interview with Stephen A. Smith. I have my notes here, probably the Sport Universe, so don't think about stealing it. Okay, so he had three major points that he was discussing throughout it. One of them was that Carmelo Anthony himself is a different person. His last time that he was in the league with the Houston Rockets, he was very focused, as a lot of people say, on not really changing his role. He wanted to be the star or as close to it as possible. He discussed how during that time it was a big battle for him. I mean, he went from being a star in New York, where he averaged 30, 24, 25 points a game. Then he went to he was the main star in New York. Then he went to the Thunder, where he was put down to the number 4 role. That was a big, ego hit for him to go from being the star to third, fourth option on a team. Still being considered a star, but not what he was for the Knicks. Then he went to Houston, where he thought he was still going to be a main key piece for them. And that's what he was kind of getting at throughout the interview, that they never really came to him saying that they needed him as a bench player. They needed him to come off the bench. And he is admitting that he would have fought them a little bit just because of his what he thought he could bring to the team. But if they got to the point that that was what was best for the team and actually explained that to him, he would have been fine with it. It would have been a little hard for him, but he would have gotten through it. But what the media hasn't been saying about it is that the Rockets never really reached out to him about doing that. And that's why you saw the reluctance that he had when he was playing with Houston to be that bench player. And being a Knicks fan, I know exactly what he's talking about. He was the focus of New York for the whole time he was there. I mean, I remember the day he was traded to New York, I was in the city actually, and literally every Modell's was ransacked for Carmelo Anthony shirts, Carmelo Anthony jerseys, and we went to a lot of Modell's in the city, couldn't find the Carmelo Anthony shirt. Either it had been sold out or just not there yet. And he was so popular. I mean, he was popular in the city right when he got there, and obviously his popularity started to decline, and eventually got to the point where he was basically kicked out of New York. But he was always the focus of New York, and I think that's what he liked. But when he went to the Thunder or when he went to the Rockets, he was no longer the focus, and it was a big hit for him. But he understood, if they explained to him in the right way, that he needed to be a bench player, that he would have been a bench player. And since it was never explained to him the right way, the media took on this view that he was a selfish player. He didn't want to do what was best for the team. He just cared about his stats, still being a star and everything like that. And throughout the interview, one of his main points was that he's a different person now. It was a big hit for him when he was basically forced out of the league a few years ago, just because no one wanted to take on his like fake nonsense. I mean, it was the media spurring this story that he was a player only caring about being a starter, not about what was best for the team. Even though that's not true, it was a big hit for him at that point, self-confidence wise, that no team wanted to take on him as a starter, because it was just never really explained to him why he needed to be a bench player, is what he was getting at that point. And he said that at the time when he was basically forced out of the league a few years ago, he needed to take some time to understand who he was as a person, who he was as a basketball player, if basketball was what he wanted to do in the future, if he wanted to be a part of that world again. And basically this interview with Stephen A. Smith was his first contact with the basketball world in a few years. I mean, all that's been going on is media stories about him, other people talking about him, and he explained that he came on with Stephen A. Smith because he wanted to get his views out on the sport, on basketball, and who he is as a person, and what he wants his future to be. And he wanted to explain that he's a different person now. He totally gets being a bench player. He will do anything that's best for the team. One of his other key points was that it's not all about winning for him. I mean, he explained how much he loves basketball and how much he misses it throughout the interview. And it's not only about winning for him. And Stephen A. Smith was kind of, I don't know what the word is, interrogating or something like that, about how could it not be, I mean, Carmelo Anthony's a Hall of Famer. Stephen A. Smith was kind of getting at the point that he's a Hall of Famer. He's only been to the conference final once and hasn't gotten past that point at all. Hasn't won a finals, while his counterparts like LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Paul have made it far into the playoffs. I mean, LeBron James winning all his finals and everything like that. He got to the point where, like, fans and him just don't understand how his focus isn't about winning. And Carmelo Anthony responds to that is that, like all other players, he wants to win, and he wants to hold that trophy at the end of the season. But for him at this point, it's just about being able to play again and being able to be on that court and having that camaraderie with teammates, about just being on the court and playing basketball. He doesn't really care what role it is, what team he's on. He just wants to play. And that's very honorable of him to say that. He doesn't care about being a star anymore. He just wants to play. And that just goes to show how much he loves the sport. That could be me being sensitive to the subject, being a Carmelo Anthony fan, and knowing what he's been through. But it seems to me that winning for him isn't the only major thing. It's about playing basketball. And he also got to the point, I mean, a perfect example of this is when he stayed in New York, when he had the opportunity to go to free agency, sign with a different team. He was telling Stephen A. that he was ready to go to Chicago. That was his first option. Go to Chicago, be with Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah. I mean, they were a team on the rise at that point. Obviously, not after that. But at that point, they were a team on the rise, and Carmelo Anthony saw that. And he saw that Chicago could be the next step for him in possibly making it to the finals and being getting to that next step in his career where he was no longer a superstar, but he was a superstar with a championship. He had championship pedigree. Sorry, I can't talk. To take the next step. And he said that he started to hear whisperings about things going on in Chicago, people leaving, bad vibes, and all that stuff. And he explained New York was his last meeting. He took them last. Obviously, that goes to show he didn't really have an interest in coming back. But in the interview with New York, he asked them what they could do for him. And what they could do for him, what they could put around him to get to that superstar with the championship pedigree. For him to get a championship after all these years of him being a superstar and not winning anything. And Carmelo Anthony explained that there was a lot of empty promises in that interview. They promised stars to join Carmelo Anthony, and it never really happened. But Carmelo Anthony, being the trustworthy guy he was, you could say gullible, but I see it as more trustworthy. He took it as, I think his direct quote, I don't have the direct quote, but he believed in them, and he felt that he belonged in New York. That was his home, and he wanted to do something special in New York, which is very honorable. I mean, New York at that time, they were a good team, not a championship team. He could have went to Chicago and made that a championship team, but he wanted to do something special in his home. And that just goes to show it wasn't only about winning. It was winning with a special, something special around it. He wasn't doing it for a selfish reason. He was doing it to change the culture of New York City, the culture of basketball in the city, making the Knicks a winning team again, and not fleeing when there was trouble. And that's something that you have to really respect with Carmelo Anthony. Through all the media and everything that's been said about him, there's not a lot that Carmelo Anthony has on his side, but that's one of the things, that he always stayed and was loyal. Even when it was pretty bleak to be a Knicks player. And then next key thing that he talked about was that for him, this next step in basketball isn't because he wants a farewell tour. It's not because he wants to feel special like Dwayne Wade felt, like any other big star felt when it was their last season. He said this might not even be his last season. He might play more. Obviously, if it's not his last season, he's going to play more than one more season. But he wanted to make it clear that he wasn't doing this for selfish reasons. He wasn't doing this to get the media attention, to get good light on him. And Stephen A. Smith was kind of saying, well, what else would it be then? Why are you on this show then, if you're not trying to get the media on your side again? Carmelo Anthony was basically saying that he's here to have himself talk about who he is, not other people. I mean, the media's said horrible things about Carmelo Anthony as a person, as he is on the court, off the court, but he wanted to be there to actually give who he is as a person. Now that I'm over the key points of the interview, there are many, throughout the whole videos that I watched, there are many key quotes that he said throughout it that just goes to show you who Carmelo Anthony is. One of the big things was, my silence is not my surrender. He's taken basically a 2-year absence from the basketball world, and whatever you want to call it. And he explained that just because he's silent about things doesn't mean that he doesn't want to be back in the NBA. It doesn't mean that he doesn't care about what people are saying about him. He basically didn't know how to respond to what was being said about him. He wanted to focus on himself and basically not worry about what the media is saying about him and things like that. But it got to the point for him, which is why he did the interview. It got to the point for him that he had to say something. The media stories were getting so crazy, And he realized that if he didn't say something now, didn't say what's on his actual mind, and it actually came from him, that he might never get a job again, just because of the crazy things that they were saying about him. And one of the big other things that he said, and this will be the last part of the video, it's actually gotten pretty long now. Okay, so one of the big other things he said was, you mean to tell me that there are 30 teams in the NBA and I can't make a 15-man roster? And that was a very big point for him. And it's pretty much self-explanatory. How does Carmelo Anthony how has he not made a roster in 2 years? Being Carmelo Anthony, still having many of the skills that made him a superstar, how is it fair to say that he's not a man? He's not one of the, what's 30 times 15? I haven't done math. I don't know. I'm not going to try to figure that out. 9. Yes, I am going to try 30 times 3. 90 times 5. It's 450, right? I think so. Let's just say it's 450. How's he not one of the 450 best basketball players in the world? Or whatever 30 times 15 equals. How's he not one of those best players? And he used that example to get to the point that basketball at this time isn't only about skills, and it's about what his persona is in the league. And he blamed that on the media and what people are saying about him that hasn't been coming from him, and is just speculation, that the media is blowing his personality out of proportion, and the media is basically at fault for him not having a job, which I totally agree with. Carmelo Anthony is a Hall of Famer, and the fact that a Hall of Famer at his stage in his career... Let me check how old Carmelo Anthony is. Oh, I have bad Wi-Fi here. I feel like he's like 36, 35, something like that. Yeah, he's 35 years old. How is a Hall of Famer at 35 years old out of the NBA? And hasn't even got a lick of a chance in the past 2 years. I mean, he left the NBA at 33. That's like right at the end of someone's prime, and people play well past their prime. How does a Hall of Famer not have a job yet? There's no better reason than the fact that he's Carmelo Anthony, and the media has taken what he did in the NBA out of proportion and made it seem like he's a selfish player that doesn't care about his team. And that's basically a hard pill to swallow for him, and I think that's why he decided to go on First Take and do an interview with Stephen A. Smith and basically show the world who he truly is. Okay, I think that's it. It went pretty well. I'm going to have to do some editing. I realized I rambled on about something for too long, because right now I am at 19 minutes, and this should not have taken 19 minutes, but in the future, there's going to be stuff here. I don't know what stuff, or over here, maybe something that says a Sport Universe. I'm not sure exactly what it's going to say. I'm not sure what this is going to look like, how this series is going to work, but I think it's kind of a different vibe, and something that I'm going to keep doing. And this is saying, same thing I say on the podcast. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching. Is it different now? You can watch me. Thanks for watching. I gotta stop saying sorry about that. Comment on this video, tell me what I should do differently, tell me what I should react to, what I should talk about, how I should edit these videos. Keep reading the articles on the website. I'm trying to figure out a posting schedule for that, because I'm guilty of just focusing on YouTube and not focusing on the website, which I need to also focus on. I try my best to get things out on the website, but I've largely been focusing on the YouTube, I gotta say. So keep reading the articles. Instagram is coming along. We're still working on getting our footing back in the door. I don't know how to... we're working on making our posts clean and look really nice. And that's the hold up with everything. we want to figure out how to make it long lasting and also look nice. So that's coming along. Keep watching our videos. I just posted a Noah Syndergaard video. Surprisingly not doing as good as I thought it would be doing. I mean, it only has like 10 views and it's been up since Friday. I feel like it's one of the better videos, so watch that. Watch all the other videos. Our Kevin Durant video is at 3,800 views at the time I'm recording this. Hopefully it's at 4,000 by the time I post. So keep watching that. Keep subscribing. We're one away from 50. Annoyingly, I was at 50. Someone's unsubscribed, so whoever that was, please subscribe back. That would be very nice. Sorry if I've been looking the wrong way. I don't know why I keep looking there and not there. Sorry about that. I'll figure it out eventually. So I'm new to this part of YouTube. I'm actually new to YouTube basically, but I'm new to this part. If you're interested in helping us out through editing our videos, writing for us, everything is volunteer basically at this point. I'm not making any money from this. No one's making any money. Eventually I hope to, but right now it's just volunteer work. It's something I like doing and it's one of my hobbies at this point. So if you want to help be a part of whatever this is going to become, email us at thesportuniverse2019@gmail.com. If you have any other things you want to say to me, email me there. Follow the .sportuniverse on Instagram. I think I said that. I forgot this part. Sports are our universe. There we go. Sorry I didn't put that in the beginning of the video. Maybe that's how I'll end all these things. I don't know. Still trying to figure out how to end what this is. Sorry for rambling at the end of this video. I like to always plug as much as possible, even though that's not the greatest habit, but that's the story. I'll be back Thursday, I think, with another reacting video. See ya.